What's up, guys? Hopefully you all had a good day yesterday. But my phone fell over. So I wanted to touch upon something that I actually touched upon yesterday. I actually did a video yesterday evening talking about this and giving my opinions on this. So obviously I was talking about Haiti Price's son Harvey yesterday. I was saying that I did feel sorry for Harvey because I'd seen a lot of nasty, vile comments about him online on Facebook and Instagram. I don't have a strong opinion with kids. I do absolutely. I can't stand Haiti Price. And I've never been one of her biggest fans, but there's no denying that she loves the kids and always loves her kids, and her kids love her, and that's the main thing. And see that with Harvey, she loves Harvey, Harvey loves her, there's no denying that. Reading some of the comments, Haiti Price put a post out yesterday about with Harvey. And some of the things that people were saying about Harvey were just Um, it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely vile. They were really, um, just obviously really sitting in, reading some of the things that people were saying. It was nasty, horrible, spiteful, malicious. Is the best way to describe it. I think when you read some of these comments online, it really goes to show just how disgusting some people are, just how vile some people can really be. You know, Harvey obviously has special needs, has various disabilities. He can't really, defend himself in the same way that we can. Obviously, we can defend ourselves, in any way, in most ways. But unfortunately, obviously with Harvey, he can't really do that. He can't really defend himself. And it is sad that people are saying, really horrible things about him, and obviously, especially about someone that has special needs. Like, bullying anyone and saying nasty things about anyone is terrible and is out of order. But saying nasty and horrible things about someone that has special needs is just below the belt. It really, really is. It's hard to sympathise with people who think that it's acceptable to do that. It's like they need to put themselves in Haiti's shoes and think about how these comments would make them feel. And think about how the comments would, how upsetting the comments would be if it was their child that people were saying things about online, and just put themselves in Haiti's shoes. No one should be saying anything nasty or horrible about Harvey. He doesn't deserve that. Because Harvey he's a good kid. He doesn't do anything wrong, and people shouldn't be so vile to him. People shouldn't be so horrible to him. To hit to someone that he doesn't deserve that. When I see some of these comments, it does actually make me wonder what Harvey's done to actually deserve a lot of these things that are being said about him online. I wonder why people feel that he deserves that. People saying such horrible things about his weight at the end of the day. And as I said in yesterday's video, we all know that Harvey can't really help being the weight that he is. Because obviously he does have Prader-Willi syndrome, and I think that is probably one of the biggest contributing factors to why he's as big as he is. At the end of the day, the things that people have been saying are really disgusting. There was one comment I mentioned yesterday that I'd seen on Instagram, someone basically saying that Haiti Price should take Harvey to the vets and have him put down. That is what someone actually said. Someone actually straight up said that Haiti Price should take Harvey to the vet and have him put down. The fact that someone actually posted that comment on a public social media platform is just absolutely disgusting. It's like, the thing that I don't get with this is why people are being so, like, so horrible, saying such horrible things about Harvey when, they don't really know him. It's just the thing, like, why would you be so nasty and horrible about someone that you don't even you don't even personally know personally? It's like, if these people personally knew Harvey, then fair enough. But these people don't even personally know Harvey, and yet they think it's acceptable to be so vile and horrible online, and it just goes to show, how vile people are. I think as I said yesterday, these people need to take a long hard look at themselves in the mirror. If they're parents, and I pity that it's having them as parents, having parents who think that it's not, think that it's okay and acceptable to say such nasty, vile things about someone else's child on the internet, obviously, which a lot of them are doing. And I only hope to God that none of them are parents, because none of them deserve to be parents. If that's what they do, that's what they think is acceptable. If they think that it's okay and acceptable to say nasty, horrible things about someone else's child on the internet, then yeah, perhaps they don't deserve to be parents. Perhaps it's probably best that they're not parents, because they don't bloody deserve that. You know, I mean, it's just completely and utterly disgusting what they're doing, and just really sad that people think it's okay to say such nasty, horrible things to people on the internet about someone that they don't even know. I mean, Harvey's a good lad. He doesn't deserve the nasty things that people are saying about him online. He doesn't deserve to be, to have people saying such nasty things about his weight and things like that, which is what you're seeing also, you're seeing on these social media platforms. It is bullying, technically. I would go as far as to say that it's bullying. I think there's no real denying that. And any sort of bullying is just completely unacceptable. It's completely and utterly wrong. And it's just, especially when you're bullying someone with special needs and you're bullying somebody with various disabilities who can't really defend themselves in the same way they defend themselves in the same way that we can. At least we can actually speak up for ourselves and defend ourselves. But Harvey can't really do that, and it's. I mean, it must be horrible. It must be really horrible for her, for Haiti, seeing all of these nasty things that people are saying about Harvey, and you know, saying that, especially when people are posting comments like that, saying that she should take her son to the vet and have him put down. Like, why would you say that about someone else's kid? I saw comment on the Facebook post yesterday, someone was saying that they reckon Harvey would be dead before the age of 25, and someone responded to that comment saying, with a bit of luck. Like, that's just vile, absolutely vile. And that's the sort of thing that you're seeing on these social media platforms, is people just being so damn disgusting and vile, and Harvey doesn't deserve that, hate. I won't say that Haiti doesn't deserve any negative comments, but his certainly don't. All I can say for his is I hope that they don't really follow in her footsteps, to be honest. Especially Princess. I hope Princess doesn't really follow in her mother's footsteps, so to speak. Um, obviously with Haiti, people, as I said, people need to put themselves in her shoes and think about how they would feel as parents if they had a child with special needs, with the same sort of special needs that Harvey has, with the same, medical conditions that Harvey has, and people were saying such nasty, vile things about their child. They wouldn't like that, they wouldn't like people saying nasty things about their child if their child had the same sort of issues that Harvey has. They'd be going absolutely, they'd be going apeshit Garrity or not, Garrity at these people. So why do they think it's okay to say such nasty things about someone else's child, a child that they don't even know, a child that that most of these idiots online have probably never even met? It's just absolutely horrible. Seeing the things. to be honest, it is quite upsetting when you see these comments and you see what people are saying about Harvey. It's just like, as I said, he really doesn't deserve that. He's a good kid, and he's a good lad, and he doesn't deserve to have people saying such nasty things, nasty, vile, horrible, spiteful, malicious things about him online. You know, it's just unbelievable, that people think it's okay to do what they say, think the sort of things, to say the sort of things that they're saying. And you get people, they can't not expect people to be spiteful and nasty and malicious back to them because they deserve that at the end of the day. I remember that, there was a woman, I was seeing earlier, there was a woman on Instagram, and she I don't know why, I don't know if she has some kind of medical, uh, if she's some kind of medical professional or something like that, but she was certainly very adamant that Harvey doesn't have Prader-Willi syndrome. Now, we all know he does, but she was so adamant that he doesn't. Every time someone responded to her saying that Harvey does have Prader-Willi syndrome, she was responding back to that person saying, no, he doesn't. She's so adamant that he doesn't. It's like, what kind of evidence or what proof does she have that he doesn't have Prader-Willi syndrome? How does she know that? She's so adamant that he doesn't have it. This is what I said. This is what I said to her. She was saying, "Oh, he doesn't have Prader-Willi syndrome," and I replied to her comment saying, "Well, how do you know that for sure? What evidence or what proof do you have that he doesn't actually have Prader-Willi syndrome? How do you know that? You probably never met the child. You probably never seen the child. You probably don't even know the child yet. You're all so adamant that that child doesn't have Prader-Willi syndrome. Like, it baffles me. The attitude that some people have. Some people are so fucking stupid and such fucking idiots. There's no point fighting. There's no point arguing with them. This is the thing. There's no, you do have to try your best to sort of ignore, the comments that these idiots are posting online. You kind of have to, try and ignore that and not give them the satisfaction that they're looking for. But sometimes it's hard to sort of ignore those comments. It's hard not to get, it's like there's no point arguing with, a lot of these morons online because they won't see that, they won't be able to see that they're actually doing anything wrong. This is the worst bit about it. Is a lot of these people that are posting these kind of nasty, horrible comments about Harvey and his weight and everything probably don't think they're doing anything wrong by doing that. But the reality is they are, and they do deserve to be called out for the things that they're saying about Harvey, especially when you think about someone saying the fact that that Haiti should have, should take Harvey to the vet and have him put down. Like, why would you say that? Why would you say that someone should someone should take their child to the vet and have them put down? Like, what must someone be going through, or what must be going through people's minds to make them want to post comments like that, to make them think that it's okay and acceptable to say something like that online, and not expect to get some sort of, vile backlash, not to get some sort of backlash or vile comments back from people, you know. As when people post comments like that, they are sure as hell going to get, some quite vile comments back. As people, they don't take too kindly to people saying things like that. Comments like that, when they're never going to be taken too kindly. These troll comments, they're never going to be taken too kindly. As I said, I don't. I'm not a massive fan of Haiti Price myself. I've often said that, that obviously I don't think she's the great parent that everyone makes her out to be, but she does love her kids. Her kids love her, and you can see that. You can see in the post, you can see how much Harvey loves Haiti and how much Haiti loves Harvey. There's no disputing that. Um, that love there is undeniable. And I can't imagine how how Haiti must feel when she sees some of these nasty, horrible comments that people are saying about Harvey online. And it must be really upsetting for her to see these kind of comments, you know. And I mean, it's obviously, I mean, it just, it's just so sad that people can be so vile and so disgusting towards someone that they don't even know. They say such nasty things about someone they don't even personally know, and that they've never even met. Like, what must be going through people's minds to make them want to do and say things like that, and say the things that they're saying, to say things that are so bad. Some of these things that people are saying are really genuinely quite bad, and I do find it hard to sympathise with a lot of these morons who are actually doing what they're doing, because what they're doing is so wrong, and they shouldn't necessarily be doing it. And they can't not expect some kind of backlash for that. Um, but yeah, just like I want to give my thoughts on that. I did say I was going to do more videos on this, and I will do. I will do videos talking about things like this. Um, I mean, this is as I said, this is a kid with a lad with special needs, multiple disabilities. He can't really defend himself. People just need to back off and leave him alone. Simple as that. That's all I've got to say. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you for another one soon.